You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. We are talking to Paul Best from the Sittingbourne and Kemsley Railway at the moment. Paul, I was hoping we could next talk a little bit about this year's Santa specials.
Yeah, of course. We're getting very close to it now. The Santa specials will be running every weekend in December before Christmas, and also the Monday before Christmas as well. The trains depart from Sittingbourne Viaduct Station at 11 a.m, midday, 2 p.m. and 3 p.m, and they take everybody through to Kemsley Down, where Santa meets the train, leaves everyone across to the Footplate Cafe. At the back of the Footplate Cafe is got Santa's Grotto, so children aged under 13, or 13 and under, receive a present from Santa, and everybody else gets seasonal refreshments, so they get a cup of tea and coffee, mince pie, sausage roll, all the exciting stuff. It takes about 2 hours for a round trip, which is a bit longer than normal, because obviously everyone's got to go and see Santa. And advanced booking is essential, because we need to make sure that Santa knows how many people are turning up, so he can bring the right amount of presents for the right age groups. We don't just hand over a present that's wrapped. You get to choose the present from a display. So sometimes when you go to Santa's Grotto, you don't know what you're getting. At least with ours, you get a selection from in Santa's Grotto, so that's always good. And the fares this year are, for everybody aged under 3, it's £9.50, and that includes the train ride and the present. And then everybody over 3, it's £12.50. For the children 3 to 13, that includes a present, and for the adults over 13, that includes seasonal refreshment. So everybody gets something.
Paul, I know you wanted to next talk a little bit about fundraising.
Yes, one of the challenges that we have at the railway is funds. We don't get any external funding, so we're not funded by the council, we're not funded by government. Everything we raise, we spend on the railway. And one of the advantages of having a volunteer workforce is that we don't have to pay any wages. So really everything that comes in does pay for the railway. Our biggest drain, of course, is the viaduct, which has got a rolling programme of maintenance and repairs, and has cost £150,000 since the 1990s. And obviously, with that coming out of the fare box, that's a fair chunk of change. And then the railway being forced to close in 2008, we launched our SOS campaign, which was Save Our Steam Railway, and outside of Swale it was Save Our SKLR, and that was really successful, and that helped fund all our legal fees and to fight the closure. And obviously we fought through and we won, so we're still around, and that's really good. And then last year, just before we were about to reopen, somebody set fire to one of the buildings at Sittingbourne Viaduct, and that was while we were closed. We had a lot of vandalism at Sittingbourne, and theft, and just generally messing around, so that really didn't help. So when we reopened, we had to sort of rebuild Sittingbourne, and we had 2 buildings left. Both buildings have been broken into numerous times over the years, so we didn't bother locking the doors anymore. You know, you get to the point where I think on one of them the door had come off, and eventually they get burnt down. Now at Sittingbourne, we lost both our buildings because the second building was set on fire just before Steam and Beer this year. So we've got to the position now where we have got literally nothing at Sittingbourne, and based on normal railway fares, we can't actually afford to build anything at Sittingbourne. So we've had to relaunch the SOS campaign, although this time it's Sort Out Sittingbourne, and that's just viaduct station. I can't do the whole town. So we launched that because what we need to do, ideally, is to install a wheelchair ramp, some buildings, get some electricity, get some water, have a proper ticket office, a proper waiting room. We need toilets. We've got to sort out the security of the site, obviously, because it keeps getting broken into. So it's quite a lot of work, and it needs quite a lot of money. And we've sort of set a ballpark figure of £75,000, which is a heck of a lot of small change. So we started the campaign back in June, and we'd like to thank all those people that have already donated. We've had some really nice donations so far this year. We've still got quite a long way to go. We are close to getting a shipping container to go into Sittingbourne to at least give us something. We had a tin shed towards the end of the season, but it keeps blowing away, so it's not very promising. So we've got a shipping container that's being delivered, and that's got to be put on site at Sittingbourne, which is not going to be an easy job. And then what we need to do then is to start work on actually preparing the site for bigger and better things. If we can get a wheelchair ramp, that will really, really help. So at the moment, you've got quite a steep flight of stairs from the ground up to Sittingbourne Viaduct Station, and that's not good. It's no good for anybody in a wheelchair. You just can't get up. So we're looking at various options for a wheelchair ramp, but a wheelchair ramp itself costs the best part of £30,000. So it isn't cheap. So we've been trying to do some fundraising, and this Saturday we're doing the first, and hopefully first of many, but it all depends on ticket sales, first SOS film night with Avenue Theatre in Sittingbourne. So you'll be able to come down to the screen at the Avenue Theatre, which is their cinema, at about 6:30 on Saturday evening. I would imagine there'll be tickets available on the door, but you can also book them through the Avenue website. Excuse me. Oh, got a terrible cold. And we're going to be showing a classic old railway film, which is the Titchfield Thunderbolt, which is an amazing film. It was based on the Festiniog Railway, and the first of the steam railways to come about. Well, now I think it's the Talaclin, but there you go. So it's all about railway preservation, and they had to fight the hard way. Their railway was being closed, and they wanted to save it. And we kind of feel their pain because we've been there as well. So it's a brilliant film. It's about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes long. It's a very funny film, and hopefully people will turn up. It's £5 for adults, £2.50 for children and concessions. And I just think it's something different. We're just trying to find different ways of raising money, and I think this is one. If it's successful, next year we're trying to do a season of classic old railway films and comedies that you may not have even seen on the big screen.
I was wondering if you can next tell us about the railway reopening next year.
Yeah, sure. So we're lucky next year. All the clocks have been reset, and Easter has returned to the beginning of April. So we will be reopening on Good Friday, the 3rd of April, and we'll be running all 4 days of the Easter bank holiday. This year, for a change, all the trains are going to be hourly from 11 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the evening every day. Normally Saturday we sort of shorten the day, but we thought we'd give it a go this time because Saturday was so popular last Easter. And then we're open every Sunday and bank holiday Monday throughout the summer until the end of September. We've got Jack the Station Cat again, the first bank holiday in May, which is the 3rd and 4th. And then on the 14th of June, we're going to have our community day. Now, this year we had a community weekend, and it was the second May bank holiday, and it was a bit of a flop. It was very difficult to get people to give up their time to come out on a bank holiday, Sunday and Monday. And the feedback I got was 2 days was too much, and can we not have it on a bank holiday? So that's fine. You don't know until you try. So next year, 14th of June, it's the week before Father's Day. So we're going to run trains from 11 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and hopefully we'll have lots of community groups at the railway. And if anybody is interested in, they've got a membership of a community group and they'd like to come along, if they could send details to info@sklr.net, I'll make sure you get on the list. And then our next big event, and of course the biggest event of the year, is Steam and Beer on the 4th and 5th of July, and that's always good fun. And then on the 18th of July, which is a Saturday, the Friends of Milton Creek Country Park holding their Art in the Park, and this year we've decided to really join in, and we're going to run trains, and we haven't decided quite how we're going to do it yet, but we're going to run trains through the park. We might do park and ride from Sittingbourne to Burley Crossing, so that people can go to the park and have a look around the park as well. But we'll have to see. Keep an eye on the local press, and I'm sure I'll be back here in the spring anyway, so we'll be able to give you an update on that. And then the school holidays will be running on Wednesdays from the 29th of July all the way through to the 2nd of September, and on the Sundays, and of course on the 30th and 31st, which is the bank holiday weekend, we've got either the engine returning to the railway to cause trouble, if this year was anything to go by, and then we end the season on the 26th and 27th of September next year with our end of season gala weekend. So quite a full programme next year.
So Paul, I was hoping you could next talk a little bit about the podcast you do.
Yeah, so a few years ago when the railway was closed, I launched a podcast, and it started off as an audio podcast, and then I started embellishing it with photos, and then I got carried away and turned it into a video podcast, and that was great all the time we were closed, because I had a bit of time on my hands to actually do it. Now we've reopened, it's been a real struggle. Takes about half an hour of video editing time to do a minute of screen time, so it really does take a lot of time. So I've been having a real good think about how we can do this, and I'm going to go back to the audio podcast format, but my podcast host Libsyn have been really good, and they've got an app. So what we're going to do is relaunch it probably around Christmas time or early next year. It will be a free app through Android, Google and Apple, and you'll be able to download that. It will have the podcast on it. It will also have useful information about the railway, and video clips and all sorts. So I think it'll be a real treasure trove of an app, and I'm hoping it's going to be more useful than just a podcast.
I was hoping you could next tell listeners all about the membership of the railway.
Sure, yeah. The railway is run entirely by volunteers, so we're always welcoming of new people. We've got worldwide about 200 members, and active members is about 80, which isn't a bad ratio, but we could always do with more. So this weekend is a work weekend, so during the out of season times we have a fortnightly work weekend, which is for anybody to come along at about 9:45 on Saturday and Sunday mornings at Sittingbourne Viaduct. If the work's being carried out at Sittingbourne, we'll stay at Sittingbourne. If it's at Kemsley, there'll be a special train to pick you up and take you to Kemsley to do the work, and we finish about 4 o'clock in the evening. Best to wear layers, and lots of them, and clothes that you don't mind getting absolutely filthy or damaged. We've got loads and loads of jobs that need to be done, so the more the merrier. And then if you really enjoy it and you think actually this is something I'd like to do, then you could become a member, It's £18 for adults. It's £5 for juniors, which is 14 to 17-year-olds. Family membership is £35. Life membership is £300. A life membership for over 60s is £150, and a family life, which is available to 2 adults living at the same address, is £450. All the information is available on our website. It is good fun. You might get absolutely filthy, but it is really good fun. I'm quite looking forward to it on Saturday. And then during the season, you have the opportunity to learn some new skills, be a guard or a ticket inspector, work in the kitchen, work in the shop. There's plenty to be done. If you want, you could even help out with the gardens. We have a gardening team that deal with those. If you're feeling really fit or unfit, depending on how you feel, the track gang are always welcoming of people to help out, and that is some really hard work. So everyone's welcome to come along and give it a go this weekend, or in a fortnight's time.
So, Paul, how do you become a member?
So all the information is on our website, which is www.sklr.net, or you can email info@sklr.net. We've got a telephone hotline. You can leave a message on that, which is 01795 424 899. That's also a good place to go for the timetable when we're running, and ahead of Santa specials as well. To book a Santa special, we've actually got a special telephone booking hotline, which I can't find. It's 01795 428 269, and Alan, our booking clerk, booking office manager, will be only too happy to book you in for Santa specials, which are on the weekends in December leading up to Christmas, and then on the Monday before Christmas. If you book for the first weekend, though, the 6th and 7th of December, it's £11 for adults and £8 for children under 3, and £11 for children aged 3 to 13. And then all the other dates, so after the 6th and 7th, it goes up to £12.50 for everybody over 3 and £9.50 for everybody under 3. But you do get a gift if you're under 14, and seasonal refreshments if you're over 14.
So, Paul, if any of our listeners are interested, I was hoping you could go over those contact details and how they can book their place on the Santa specials as well.
Sure. So if you go to the Railways website, which is www.sklr.net, and then go to timetables of fares, special events, and then you'll see Santa specials there. The prices this year are different for the first weekend because we're trying to encourage a few people to try out the first weekend, which is the 6th and 7th of December. So on that weekend, the fares are £8 for children under 3 and £11 for everyone else. And then after that, the other weekends and the Monday before Christmas are £12.50 for everybody over 3 and £9.50 for the under 3s. The trains will be departing Sittingbourne Viaduct at 11 a.m, midday, 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. and please allow 2 hours for a visit because you want to go and see Santa and say hello, so we do need a bit of extra time for that. And remember to wrap up warm because it does get quite cold out there as we go across the marshes. There's a credit card and debit card booking hotline if you'd like to phone that, which is 01795 428 269. For any information on the railway, you can email us at info@sklr.net. Also keep an eye out for us on Twitter. It's at capital S, lowercase a and d, capital K, capital L, capital R. And if you'd like to make a donation to the Railways SOS campaign, it's at www.justgiving.com/SKLR, or you can send a cheque made payable to the SOS campaign to PO Box 300, Sittingbourne, Kent, ME10 2DZ.
Paul, as always, thank you very much for coming along and letting our listeners know all about how the railway's getting on and the Santa specials. And also a big thank you to you and the railway for making me and Jim feel very welcome during our project last year. It really was a good time down there.
No, it was really good, and we thoroughly enjoyed having you down there, and really enjoyed listening to the pieces because they're absolutely great. So hopefully they'll come back on again and we can enjoy them again.
That is Paul Best from the Sittingbourne and Kemsley Light Railway, talking all about the Santa specials taking place each weekend in December before Christmas, and Monday the 22nd of December as well.